crystals for her brother Chenluo when she suddenly hears a voice. Congealed Frost sister. She's the one who killed my brother and took away his crystal. Upon looking, she sees the seal she had let go, coming for revenge, accompanied by a mermaid. Seeing this, Sea Princess immediately let out a cold snort. If it weren't for my brother forbidding me from hunting low-level mutated creatures, would you even be alive to complain? I was worried I wouldn't find high-level crystals, but you've conveniently delivered yourself. My brother will surely love this mermaid's crystal. Having said that, Sea Princess launched a devastating ray of light towards the mermaid, but to everyone's surprise, Congealed Frost effortlessly lifted her hand, blocking this lethal attack with ease. Seeing this, Sea Princess' pupils narrowed, realizing that this creature was far more powerful than the level 10 ribbonfish. Knowing she stood no chance, Sea Princess didn't hesitate and turned to flee, but it was too late. With a wave of her hand, Congealed Frost instantly froze Sea Princess into an ice sculpture. At this point, the seal, eyes filled with tears, said, "Congealed Frost sister, quickly help me kill her and avenge my brother." But Congealed Frost responded, "Doesn't she have a brother? Why don't we lure him over and deal with both of them?" Meanwhile, on the other side, Chenluo also received the news that Sea Princess was in trouble. Over the walkie-talkie, Zhao Zi frantically said, "Bro Chen, this is really bad. Someone has erased the contact mark I placed on Sea Princess sister and is threatening you to come to the small island to the east to save her, or else they will kill Sea Princess." Hearing this, Chenluo was immediately alarmed, thinking that anyone capable of capturing Sea Princess must be at least level 10, or even possibly at king level. Upon thinking this, he immediately sought out Rice to inquire if he faced any danger today. Unexpectedly, Rice only said, "You won't face any danger within the next 3 hours." Hearing this, Chenluo fell deep into thought. The journey to the eastern island would take more than 3 hours. Would I, being as cautious as ever, take this kind of risk? But then he thought about how kind Sea Princess had been to him and decided to take a gamble. Although this was a journey filled with unknowns, I'm actually interested to see if there is anyone in this world who can kill me, the Void King. Following that, Chenluo arrived at the pre-agreed location on the small island, but to Congealed Frost's surprise, "Isn't he Sea Princess's brother? Why can't I see through his true form?" So, she hurriedly asked Chenluo if he was the sea god. Hearing this, Chenluo smirked and said, "I think you've got the wrong person. I'm no sea god. Now, tell me why you captured my sister." Upon hearing this, Congealed Frost immediately recounted the story of how Sea Princess killed the seal's brother, adding that she could not tolerate such senseless killings. Seeing this, Sea Princess shouted, "Little brother, run. I appreciate your kindness, but this guy is not someone you can handle." But Chenluo was unfazed, responding, "Sister, don't worry. She accuses us from a moral high ground, right? Well, today, I'll give her a lesson in reason." With that, Chenluo shouted, "The law of the jungle has always been the rule of survival. Big fish eat small fish eat shrimp. What's wrong with that? And you hypocritical seal, don't you eat fish? On what grounds can you senselessly kill?" Upon hearing this, the young seal was left speechless, finally blurting out in frustration, "I just want to avenge my brother. What's it to you?" At this moment, Congealed Frost authoritatively declared, "You make a very valid point. This is a world where the strong prey on the weak, and since I'm strong and she's weak, she must die today." This made Chenluo furious, shouting, "So, you've abandoned reason, have you?" He then unleashed his spatial slicing technique. Seeing this, Sea Princess quickly yelled, "Don't worry about me, little brother. Your move won't work on her." But before she could finish, Chenluo directed his attack at the seal beside them, muttering, "Survival of the fittest, right? Two can play at that game." Seeing this, Congealed Frost was immediately enraged, shouting, "You dare kill my friend? You must be tired of living." But before she could even finish her sentence, Chenluo vanished right in front of her eyes using his void walk. Before she could react, he mysteriously appeared beside Sea Princess. After he shouted and used his spatial slice, the next second, Sea Princess broke free from the ice. Then he smirkingly looked at Congealed Frost and said, "I assume Mermaid's sister wouldn't want to chase us in her birthday suit, right?" No sooner had he spoken than the seashells on Congealed Frost's chest were shattered by a force of space. This angered the mermaid greatly, who immediately covered her chest and screamed, "You pervert!" Chenluo didn't bother to argue, leaving only a word, "Goodbye," and vanished from the spot with Sea Princess using Void Walk. Impressed by this move, Sea Princess couldn't help but shout, "Awesome!" But Chenluo said, "The sea is no longer safe. Let's go back to the base to lay low." Hearing this, Sea Princess immediately agreed, saying, "Sister will listen to you. Once I break through to king level, I'll settle the score with Congealed Frost." After this episode, Chenluo realized how powerful Congealed Frost was. Who knows, she might come to the base for revenge. It's unfortunate that his time-related abilities haven't progressed. If he mastered time stopping, he wouldn't fear her anymore. It seemed like now was the time to find Jiang Chushue to avoid misunderstandings with his wife. Chenluo shared this thought with Meili, saying he was planning a long trip to recruit a girl with the time-stopping ability. Meili was very understanding, only asking how long he'd be gone. Chenluo told Meili that if all went well, he could be back in 3 to 5 days. The issue was if the other party would be willing to come along, but regardless, he would drag her back if he had to. The next morning, Chenluo arrived in H City alone. He clearly remembered, in his past life. Jiang Chushua's father was a local magnate here. Only after their base fell did she go to seek refuge with Mi Ling. Soon, Chen Luo spotted a group of survivors nearby. He immediately took out a pack of cigarettes and approached them to inquire about Jiang Chushue. Upon hearing this, one of the men arrogantly responded, "Bro, the person you're asking about is the daughter of our boss. Take my advice. Don't have any wicked thoughts about our young lady. My big brother is a level 6 strongman. Besides, not just anyone can join our base." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo immediately responded, "I'm not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry. I also have a level 5 physical system. Could you introduce me?" The man listened and said, "Well, I'll have to test whether you really have level 5 strength." Saying this, the man suddenly threw a punch at him. There was a loud thump, and the punch felt as if it had hit a steel plate. Seeing this, the man grinned. "Didn't expect you to really be a level 5 strongman. My apologies. I'll introduce you to join the base right away." Although Chen Luo successfully infiltrated, how would he abduct a young lady living in such comfort? Using resources to lure her definitely wouldn't work, since a base this size wouldn't lack for that. Given this, he'd have to resort to some tricks. First, he snuck into the food storage in the middle of the night, collecting all the food in the base into his special ability space. On his way out, he didn't forget to steal Jiang Chushua's pet Samyad. When they went to distribute food to the base members the next day, they found that thousands of tons of food and the guarding Samyad had mysteriously disappeared. This scared Jiang Tiancheng quite a bit. A base without food is a base without a future. Soon enough, members who heard the news chose to leave the base. In just 2 days, more than half of the base members had left. Seeing this, Jiang Chushua quickly suggested seeking food loans from other bases. Otherwise, their base would be done for. Just as things were going bad, a subordinate suddenly burst in and yelled, "Boss, we're in trouble. People from the neighboring country are causing problems again. I heard their leader has now broken through to level 7. Upon hearing this, Jiang Chushua said, "Didn't we just beat them back recently? Why have these bandits come again?" Jiang Tiancheng immediately ordered to gather all their brothers, saying, "No matter what, we'll defend our land to the last drop of blood. We will not back down." All these words were heard by Chen Luo, who was standing outside the door. He originally wanted to hide in the dark, watch the two sides fight, and then reap the benefits, but in the end, reason prevailed over desire, thinking, "Today, I'll make sure these ignorants never return." Meanwhile, on the other side, Jiang Tiancheng had gathered all his remaining men, preparing for a life and death battle with the bandits from the neighboring country. However, just as Jiang Tiancheng was about to order to move out, a young man suddenly started laughing, shouting, "For the glory of my country, take this, my deathly poison explosion." Then the man's body suddenly began to inflate wildly. With a loud boom, an explosion happened, and a mist of poison sprayed across the entire hall. Although the poison was not lethal, it was strong enough to make the affected lose their fighting abilities instantly. Jiang Tiancheng never dreamt that one of the core members of his base would actually be a spy from another country. Seems like fate really wants me gone. But just then, Chen Luo suddenly walked in with his hands in his pockets, muttering, "Don't panic, I alone am enough." Hearing this, Jiang Tiancheng immediately responded, "Young man, what nonsense are you talking about? They have an army of millions. What can you do against them?" But Chen Luo grinned and said, "All you have to do is close the doors and enjoy the show. No need for leader Jiang to worry about how I'll fight them. But I have one condition. Once I've taken them down, this young lady will have to come with me. Deal?" Jiang Tiancheng thought this kid must be crazy, remembering that when he joined, he was registered as having a level 5 physical system. No matter how tough you are, can you withstand an assault from tens of thousands? Seeing this, Chen Luo didn't waste any more words and directly walked out of the hall. At this moment, Jin Haoyu had already led an army of 50,000 to the city's edge. However, when Chen Luo made his entrance, he instantly stunned everyone. Chen Luo then slowly floated into the air, yelling, "Prepare to meet your end." Seeing this, everyone was immediately frozen in place, wondering, how can this man fly? Jiang Chushua was full of disbelief, thinking to herself, wasn't he just a level 5 in physical abilities? How is this possible? Little did she know that, for those with abilities who reach level 10, they can acquire the power of flight. Although Chen Luo is currently only at level 8 with his dual element abilities, his actual power level is equivalent to level 10. At that moment, Chen Luo suddenly flew towards the army, frightening Jin Haoyu, who immediately shouted, "Focus fire and bring him down. I can't believe an army of 50,000 can't handle a single fly." At that point, Chen Luo had already charged up his ultimate move. After he shouted Space Pulse, a series of spatial fluctuations instantly burst forth from his hands. This large-scale move immediately wiped out a large number of enemies below level 7. Just then, Jin Haoyu smugly said, "I thought your attack was going to be impressive. It didn't even break my earth shield." However, Chen Luo coldly responded, "You don't think I can only do it once, do you?" Without further ado, Chen Luo unleashed a flurry of space pulses. The spectacle made Jin Haoyu's legs give way, and he fell to his knees. Jiang Chushua and her father on the city wall were sweating bullets, muttering, "How is this possible? Didn't he say he was in the physical abilities category? What level of power does one need to achieve this?" Seeing this, Jin Haoyu immediately cast gravity magic on Chen Luo. Chen Luo paused for a moment, then stopped what he was doing. Jin Haoyu then yelled, yelled, "Brothers, run." I've slowed him down. He'll struggle to move even a meter. However, before he could finish, Chenluo used Void Walk to appear right in front of him. He coldly said, "Your gravity magic did have some effect on me. You've managed to reduce my 500-meter sprint speed by a whole 2 meters. With that, Chenluo lunged at him at an astonishing speed, muttering, "Since you've broken through to level 7, you must have a high-grade crystal on you, right?" This scared Jin Haoyu considerably, who hastily unleashed his earth shield in an attempt to block Chenluo. With a clank, the impregnable earth shield was shattered by a single palm strike from Chenluo, who then slapped Jin Haoyu on the forehead. Jin Haoyu immediately bled from 7 orifices and died on the spot. This scene stunned Jiang Tiancheng, exclaiming, "What level of power does this kid have? He just killed a level 7 with a single slap. What is his real purpose for infiltrating my base?" Upon hearing this, one of the underlings hurriedly said, "This guy came for the young lady. He was asking about her even before he entered the base." Hearing this, Jiang Tiancheng thought that Chenluo was interested in his daughter, thinking to himself, "Not only is he incredibly strong, but he also seems to be patriotic. Jiang Chushua would not suffer if she stayed with him. So, regardless, this kind of outstanding talent must not be allowed to leave." So he immediately took him upstairs for a discussion. He got straight to the point, saying, "If you're willing to stay, I'll not only set you up with my daughter, but also make you the second in command of our base. What do you say, brother Chenluo?" However, without a second thought, Chenluo rejected the offer, saying, "I just want to take your daughter, Jiang Chushua, away." Hearing this, Jiang Tiancheng froze, thinking to himself, "Damn you, Chenluo, I wanted you to become my son-in-law, but you want to make me a lonely old man." Then he sternly said, "If you don't want to be my son-in-law, fine, but don't most families offer some dowry when marrying off their daughters? I won't ask for much. 200 pigs as dowry should be reasonable, right?" Actually, he didn't mean to sell his daughter. He just wanted to deter Chenluo from running away with Jiang Chushua, hoping that he would stay. Chenluo immediately responded, "Aren't you just trying to make things difficult for me? With the way the world is now, there probably aren't even 200 live pigs left in the entire world." Upon hearing this, Jiang Tiancheng said, "You have 2 choices. One is to stay, and I will set you up with Jiang Chushua. The second is to leave the way you came in. Make your choice." Chenluo realized he was being deliberately difficult, so why should he continue negotiating? Then, Chenluo seriously said, "Do you know what time it is now, Mr. Jiang?" Jiang Tiancheng, without a second thought, told him it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. "So, are you in a rush?" But who would have thought, just as his words fell, Chenluo suddenly changed his tone and turned the tables on him. "What I'm saying is, this is the end of the world. What right do you have to negotiate terms with me? You haven't forgotten my abilities just now, have you? You also have 2 choices before you. One is for me to forcibly take your daughter away, or 2, you can try to persuade Jiang Chushua to willingly come with me. You wouldn't want to see your daughter crying as I abduct her, would you?" Upon hearing this, Jiang Tiancheng broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, how did this kid change his face faster than flipping a book? With no choice, he asked Chenluo where he intended to take Jiang Chushua. Chenluo told him, "I have a base as well. People like you at level 6 wouldn't even rank in my place. My idea is to build a super base, so we can better survive in the post-apocalyptic world. That's why I want to take Jiang Chushua with me. You can bring your elite members along too. Whether you want to join us or go your own way is up to you. Also, I must warn you, H City will soon face unprecedented heavy rainfall, which will flood the city completely. If you don't leave now, you'll have to leave then." With that, Chenluo turned to leave, but happened to encounter Jiang Chushua standing at the door. Suddenly, an idea struck him. He asked Jiang Chushua, who was at level 6, to use her time-stopping ability on him. If she could freeze him, it would indicate she had king-level potential. Without hesitation, Jiang Chushua released her ability on him. In the next second, Chenluo was frozen in place. Sure enough, this girl has the makings of a king-level powerhouse. What's strange, though, was that although my body was frozen, my internal powers still circulated. In my previous life, even my abilities were frozen when I was stopped. What's going on? Could it be related to my awaken time ability? After being frozen for 3 seconds, Chenluo immediately asked her to cast the spell on him again. This scared Jiang Chushua quite a bit, thinking to herself, I only stopped him for such a short time. This Chenluo is truly unfathomable. She then cast the time-stopping spell on Chenluo once more. However, this time she couldn't even freeze him for a second, as he used his time ability to break free from the freeze. This delighted him immensely, thinking to himself, as I thought, in my previous life, only time-stopping could limit me, the King of the Void. In this life, I'll be an invincible existence. At least, there's no ability that can restrain me anymore. Meanwhile, on another front, a young lady named Seeing had actually replicated the Elder Badge of Dawn City, and she was about to use this badge for something earth-shattering. A week later, Chenluo returned to Dawn City with the newly subdued Jiang Chushua and her father, but as soon as they entered the base, the members immediately surrounded them, saying, Brother Chen, you're finally back. Big things have happened in Divine Capital while you were gone. A brazen young lady actually forged our Elder Badge and wiped out a base using Dawn City's name. Hearing this, Chenluo was shocked, thinking, I remember renaming the base to Dawn City before I left, right? How come someone is already using our name to scam people so quickly? Li, and this elder badge was made by Long Yu with anti-counterfeit features. How did that crazy woman manage to forge it? Just then, Li, who had heard of Chenluo's return, immediately ran excitedly towards him and threw herself directly into his arms, making Jiang Chushua, who had affection for Chenluo, feel uncomfortable. At that moment, Li sweetly said, "It's all my fault for not being careful enough to let Seeing join the base. She exploited the loophole, but we've already captured her." However, Chenluo did not blame Li, instead asking her where Seeing was being held. Soon after, Chenluo came to the room where she was imprisoned, then coldly said, "You're quite audacious, daring to use the name of my base to commit murder. Also, our elder badge can withstand high temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees. How did you forge it?" Seeing told him she had only copied the appearance, and because Dawn City's reputation had already been well established, nobody dared to question the authenticity of the elder badge. Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately asked, "Why did you wipe out that base then?" Upon hearing this question, Seeing clenched her teeth and said, "Because their leader took a liking to me. When I refused, those beasts killed my brother." While Chenluo deeply sympathized with her, he said, "Regardless, impersonating an elder from my base and issuing fake orders is a crime." Then he turned and left, knowing well that he couldn't be soft-hearted in such matters. He must make a public execution to serve as a warning. Otherwise, everyone will follow suit in the future. Just then, Chen Guang suddenly ran over and shouted, "Brother Chen, there's an urgent and tricky situation. Please come quickly. Someone has brought a mysterious corpse outside seeking our protection. The corpse is really strange. Several of our elders have gone to look at it, but none could inflict any damage on it." Upon hearing this, Chenluo was immediately alarmed, wondering, could it be a king-level mutated corpse? Only a corpse at the king level would be this tough. With this thought, Chenluo instantly used a void walking technique and disappeared from the spot. Upon closer inspection, he was delighted to find that it was indeed a king-level corpse. This made Chenluo extremely happy, thinking, although dual-element ability users need to absorb twice as much energy for advancement, as long as I absorb this king-level crystal, my power could at least reach the peak of level 9. Chenluo then immediately asked the man why he was seeking protection. The man promptly replied, "My name is Zhao Jing. I just came to Divine Capital and was robbed by 2 groups of people. I heard that Leader Chen provides protection here. I wanted to offer you the crystal, but the corpse is too hard. I've tried everything but can't inflict any damage. I guess the level of the crystal inside should be quite high. Would this qualify for your protection?" Upon hearing this, Chenluo instantly ordered, "From now on, I, Chenluo, will protect Brother Zhao Jing. Anyone who dares to touch him will be against me in Dawn City." Chen Guang, given that Brother Zhao Jing has been robbed, his home probably has little food. Take 20 tons of rice and 1 ton of potatoes to him. Chenluo felt it would weigh on his conscience to not offer something in return for the king-level crystal. Hearing this, Zhao Jing was moved to tears and loudly exclaimed, "Thank you, Leader Chen, for your generous reward." Then Chenluo took the king-level corpse back to his own yard, immediately conjured a void sword and made a hole in it. Looking at the huge king-level crystal, Chenluo estimated that he could advance to level 9 within 2 or 3 days. Meanwhile, on the other side, due to sudden heavy rains causing flooding in multiple areas, a large number of refugees have flooded into Divine Capital. Among them was a man named Gu Changfeng, who claimed to have some power and immediately wanted to occupy others' bases. Boasting that he was a level 7 strongman, he said, "Surrender now, and you may be spared." People who heard this immediately scoffed. A level 7, how impressive. Our Divine Capital's Dawn City's leader, Chenluo, may even be at level 9 by now. You guys are many and strong today, so we yield. I'm going to seek protection from Leader Chen right now. Then the man led all his members to evacuate the base. However, Gu Changfeng showed no martial ethics and immediately launched a surprise attack on those who surrendered, shouting, "Don't let them escape. Kill them all to eliminate future troubles." Soon, nearly all members of this base were slaughtered by them. At that moment, one of them, while attacking the remaining members, arrogantly said, "Is every base in Divine Capital this weak?" A member lying on the ground disdainfully replied, "Bullying us isn't an accomplishment. Try saying that in Dawn City." But Gu Changfeng's men dismissed it, boasting, "We'll try. We came here to dominate Divine Capital." Meanwhile, another group of refugees had also arrived in Divine Capital. Among them, a level 6 nature element ability user named Ling Weiwei was heading for Chenluo's Dawn City. Her teammates had heard that their place particularly valued nature elements, especially those like her who have improved seed technology. However, they heard that the base had already developed seeds that could increase yields by 50%. Hearing this, Ling Weiwei was stunned. She thought her seeds, which could increase yields by 30%, were already impressive. She didn't expect someone in Dawn City to be even more proficient. Her teammates told her about a large exchange meeting in Dawn City the next day. Not only would seeds be distributed for free, but they would also recruit qualified ability users. Hearing this, Ling Weiwei immediately said, "Let's go then." Little did she know that this decision would make her regret for the rest of her life. 2 years ago, due to workplace setbacks and extreme mental stress, she had a violent temperament and even had cruel thoughts. A stray dog accidentally bumped into her, and she crazily cut off a piece of the dog's ear. What she didn't expect was that dog not only survived, but also became the dog elder in Dawn City after the apocalypse. The next day, tens of thousands of people arrived at the exchange meeting, obviously more than twice as many as the last time. Chenluo had also heard that many people had come to Divine Capital due to flooding, and several bases had been attacked by outsiders. He chose to host the meeting today, specifically to deter these newcomers. Then Seeing was brought to the venue. At this moment, Chen Guan said sternly, "This person, for impersonating an elder of our Dawn City, destroyed a base by trickery. I, by the order of the city leader, publicly execute this person. As a warning to you all, anyone who dares to impersonate a member of our Dawn City in the future will meet the same fate as this woman." Upon saying that, Chenluo released spatial slicing from behind the curtain. The next second, a force of space sliced through Seeing's neck. Watching such a beautiful girl get decapitated on the spot scared the people in the audience quite a bit. Everyone expressed that even with 10 times the courage, they wouldn't dare to impersonate. Gu Chanfeng was especially terrified, his face turning pale, thinking to himself, those people yesterday didn't lie. We can't afford to mess with this Dawn City for now. Then, Chen Guang continued, back to the main point. Those who need free seeds can come to us for registration. Same old rule, half of the potatoes you grow should be given to us. Also, we have changed our recruitment criteria. Now we only recruit ability users above level 6. Hearing this, Gu Chanfeng was shocked, thinking, is this even reasonable? As if everyone in your base is above level 6. However, Ling Weiwei, who heard this, immediately stood up, thinking, luckily, I've advanced to level 6. I can finally get rid of this burden. Then she coldly said, thank you all for taking care of me during this time, but I choose to join Dawn City. We are not on the same path. Saying that, she heartlessly left her teammates and went on stage, saying, I am a level 6 nature element ability user, with the ability to improve seeds. I am very eager to join your Dawn City. Am I qualified? Hearing this, Chen Guan immediately accepted Ling Weiwei. Chenluo was also very satisfied with this new member, even personally taking her on a tour around the base, preparing to send her to Mengyin for experience exchange. But at that moment, Thunder King, who was idly roaming around the base, suddenly heard that unforgettable voice. A surge of painful memories flooded its mind. In a winter before the apocalypse, Thunder King, due to the cold, had taken refuge in a basement, unknowingly bumping into a girl. Thunder King thought it had encountered a kind person, but who knew? That woman immediately pinned it down, and then directly took out a knife to cut off a piece of its ear. For a moment, Thunder King's screams resonated throughout the entire parking lot. However, this venomous-hearted woman didn't stop there, and continued to violently assault it with her blade. In order to survive, Thunder King used all its might to bite Ling Weiwei's hand, but because she was wearing leather gloves, it couldn't do any harm. Seeing this, Thunder King didn't hesitate for a second, and immediately escaped from this woman's clutches. Had it not been for a kind old lady's rescue, this dog would have died in that cold and hungry night. It must be her. This elder would never forget that voice until death. Seeing that she had the ability to improve seeds, Chenluo planned to hand her over to Mengyin, but he was unexpectedly stopped by Thunder King halfway. Seeing its owner bringing its enemy into the base, Thunder King immediately let out a hate-filled roar towards Ling Weiwei, followed by non-stop barking. This scared Ling Weiwei quite a bit. Without saying another word, she hid behind Chenluo and coquettishly said, oh my, this dog is so fierce. I'm so scared. At this moment, Chenluo also sensed something was off. This was the first time he had seen Thunder King act so aggressively toward someone, even revealing a chilling intent to kill. So, he immediately brought Rice as a translator. But when Rice heard about Thunder King's experience, he instantly broke into a cold sweat. Then he showed an extremely disgusted look and said, it's this wicked woman who cut off Thunder King's ear, and even stabbed it multiple times. Thunder King asks, do you still honor your promise to avenge its enemy? Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately glared at Ling Weiwei, then directly questioned if she had ever cut a dog's ear in the past. Upon hearing this, Ling Weiwei was greatly shocked, thinking, why would he suddenly ask me this? Does he know about what happened back then? So she hastily said, how could I possibly do such an unconscionable thing? Heaven and earth can testify, I have never done such a thing. Chenluo paused, and from Ling Weiwei's expression, confirmed she was indeed guilty. Then he disdainfully said, whether you admit it or not doesn't matter. If our dog elder thinks you're guilty, that's enough. Should I kill her for you, Thunder King, or do you want to do it yourself? Upon hearing this, Thunder King immediately barked, I will avenge my own grudge. This scared Ling Weiwei quite a bit, and she immediately shouted, Leader Chen, please spare me this once. I admit I cut a dog's ear, but I didn't mean to. I had just started working at that time, and I was continuously bullied by colleagues, so I lost control. Please forgive me this once. At this point, Chenluo coldly said, you take out your frustrations from others on a little puppy, is that it? A kick might have been overlooked. Thunder King would probably let it slide, but you cut its ear and stabbed it. Isn't that going too far? Even Rice angrily added, forgiving you is God's business. What Thunder King needs to do is send you to meet God. Seeing Chenluo remain indifferent, Ling Weiwei shouted in desperation, you just praised me for being talented, didn't you? I'm a human. It's a dog. How can you side with a dog? You can't do this to me. But Chenluo didn't pay any attention and directly signaled for Thunder King to make its move. Seeing this, Thunder King didn't hesitate, and with all its might, swung a paw at her. her. Unexpectedly, Ling Weiwei, who was at level 6, wasn't injured at all, which immediately made Chenluo realize something was wrong. Thunder King is level 8. By logic, she should be either dead or severely injured. Could it be that she awakened dual abilities due to extreme emotional fluctuation? Chenluo wanted to warn Thunder King, but it was too late. At that moment, it was already blinded by hatred. Just as Thunder King prepared to launch another attack, a terrifying energy suddenly burst forth from Ling Weiwei. She abruptly transformed into a 5 to 6 meter tall monster, shouting, "I'm going to kill you all." This scared Chenluo quite a bit. He quickly asked Thunder King if it wanted him to step in, but Thunder King refused his offer, insisting on taking its own revenge. Seeing that Ling Weiwei now had the power to battle Thunder King to prevent damage to the base, Chenluo immediately deployed a void banishment, transporting Thunder King and Ling Weiwei to an empty field. This way, Thunder King could go all out. It leaped high into the air for a thunderous tail swipe and harshly smacked it onto Ling Weiwei's face. But to Chenluo's astonishment, the strike did not cause her any substantial harm. Thunder King didn't lose heart. It launched another thunder palm at her, but still to no effect. At this point, Ling Weiwei mockingly said, "Are you trying to tickle me? Did this dumb dog skip a meal? What can you do with such little strength?" This really ticked off Thunder King, who without hesitation unleashed a thunder whip combo at her. But just then, Chenluo sensed something was off. Thunder King's attack speed was gradually declining, and its strength was also waning. Given Thunder King's level, it shouldn't be tiring out after just a few attacks. Could there be some sort of curse effect on this monster? Meanwhile, Ling Weiwei kept taunting Thunder King. "Come hit me, you idiot. Are you already panting after a couple of strikes?" Hearing this, Thunder King leapt forward to claw at her, aiming to shut her up, but Ling Weiwei's reflexes were incredibly quick. She slapped Thunder King to the ground with a backhand. At this point, Thunder King also sensed something wrong, feeling its strength continuously draining away. Through observing the battle, Chenluo deduced what was happening. It seemed Ling Weiwei was using some technique to absorb Thunder King's power. Each time Thunder King attacked her, she would siphon off a portion of its strength. But at this time, Thunder King was already blinded by hatred, completely unaware of this. It kept attacking Ling Weiwei over and over again. After a while, both in terms of power and speed, Ling Weiwei was completely dominating Thunder King. Before Dog Elder could react, he was sent flying with a swift kick from her. Ling Weiwei arrogantly said, "Foolish dog, still calling yourself Dog Elder? How about I cut off your other ear right now?" This scared Chenluo quite a bit. He never expected that Thunder King, a level 8, would be toyed with by her. However, it was precisely Ling Weiwei's words just now that thoroughly enraged Thunder King. "How dare you insult the Elder title I've worked so hard for? I've never wronged you, yet you cut off my ear. Well then, taste my fury." Old grievances combined with new hatred made Thunder King completely fall into a state of rage. At this moment, Thunder King's body suddenly erupted with countless purple lightning bolts. After a few angry barks from Thunder King, the purple lightning around its body converged into a bolt of purple sky lightning, which furiously struck the black monster. As the purple sky lightning instantly shattered the black monster into pieces, Chenluo was completely stunned, thinking that even he couldn't produce such destructive power. And what was the deal with the purple lightning? He had never seen Thunder King use purple lightning in his past life. Before Chenluo could figure out what was happening, Thunder King collapsed with a thud. Seeing this, Chenluo immediately went to check the situation, but Thunder King's first words were, "I didn't ask for your help. You can't take my points." He then asked Thunder King if the purple lightning was a newly acquired skill, since he had never seen him use it before. Thunder King didn't know how to explain, so it lightly blew a breath towards Chenluo. The next second, a strong wind ruffled Chenluo's hair. At that moment, Chenluo understood everything. Seems like this dog has awakened dual abilities. It's evident that its second ability is wind-related, so he immediately asked Thunder King to try blowing with force to see if it could generate a tornado. Upon hearing this, Thunder King didn't hesitate and took a big breath. As it exhaled, a hurricane was instantly created. This made Chenluo extremely happy, thinking how this was all thanks to Ling Weiwei. If it weren't for her, Thunder King would never have awakened dual abilities. But why did she transform into a black monster just now? Usually, nature-based transformations are into various animals. Could it be that her abilities had fused, like how Thunder King's wind ability had fused with its lightning ability, resulting in purple lightning? So by that logic, the earlier you awaken dual abilities, the more advantageous it is for ability fusion. At this point, Chenluo suddenly felt that if he didn't work harder, he might actually be outdone by a dog, especially considering that this dog now had nearly level 10 strength. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately challenged Thunder King to a race. "Let's see who can get back to base first. How about a bet of 100 points? Don't worry, I won't use Void Walk." Hearing this, Thunder King was instantly interested, thinking, "What a great deal. With my 4 legs, I'm not afraid of your 2. As soon as Chenluo yelled start, both man and dog immediately dashed towards the base at full speed. Who would have known that in the next second, Thunder King erupted with a whirlwind mixed with thunder around him. In the blink of an eye, he teleported hundreds of meters. This scared Chenluo quite a bit. "Wow, Wind Thunder Flash, you dare cheat against me by using skills, huh?" Just as Thunder King was about to charge into the base, Rice. He was sent back to his original location by Chenluo's spatial exile. Frustrated, Thunder King found Chenluo and barked, "You cheat! How dare you use spatial exile on a dog?" Smiling slyly, Chenluo responded, "I remember saying I wouldn't use Void Walk, but I never said anything about not using spatial exile. Besides, you used Wind Thunder Flash. You cheated first, okay?" After costing Thunder King 100 points, Chenluo proceeded to the inner courtyard and found Rice circling around a flower. He immediately went up to warn Rice that the flower is poisonous. "It might not harm you physically, but it will make you dizzy and nauseous. Shall I pull it out now?" Upon hearing this, Mayu immediately shouted, "Leave the flower. Mutant plants can also be ingredients. Let me research this flower. It might solve the issue of tasteless fish." Subsequently, Chenluo returned to his room to absorb the crystal. Just 2 hours passed, and he felt signs of a breakthrough. After enduring intense pain all over his body, he finally surpassed Thunder King and advanced to level 9. His physical condition reached a near king level, and his abilities were multiple times stronger than before. Thinking about this, he began to try fusing abilities. Ling Weiwei had fused nature and dark elements to create a transformation skill. Thunder King had fused thunder and wind to create Wind Thunder Flash. What kind of ability will I create by fusing space and time to ensure nothing goes wrong? Chenluo immediately called Rice, asking it to predict for him what would happen if he combined them. Rice then jumped onto Chenluo and started sensing. Soon after, it said with a terrified face, "Chenluo, I saw you die on the spot, so you must never try that skill." Hearing this, Chenluo was stunned, muttering to himself, "Is the consumption of this space-time ability so huge? Do I have to wait until I reach level 10 or king level to use this skill?" Thankfully, Rice warned him in time, or he almost killed himself just now. Early the next morning, a member of the intelligence group sent a valuable message, saying they saw a stunning beauty by the seaside, and that she could turn someone into an ice sculpture with just a breath. Upon hearing this, Chenluo rushed to the beach without a word, because he suspected that the woman they mentioned was Congealed Frost. Indeed, it was exactly as he had guessed, but what he didn't expect was, as soon as Congealed Frost saw him, she ran towards the sea as if she had seen a ghost, mumbling to herself, "Why is it this rascal again? Is he here to destroy my shells?" At this moment, the puzzled Chenluo was a bit baffled, thinking to himself, "Do I look that scary? Scaring away a king-level expert the moment I show up?" So, she ran and he chased. Just as Congealed Frost was about to jump into the sea, Chenluo instantly used Void Walking to catch up and grabbed her, saying, "Why are you running when you see me? Do I look like a bad person to you? Don't worry, I have no ill intentions." However, Congealed Frost did not think so. She kept shouting, "You pervert, let go of me now." Hearing this, Chenluo immediately explained that the last time was just a misunderstanding. "You hear me out? No, listen to my explanation. If you don't give me this chance, I can't guarantee if those 2 small shells of yours will remain intact." Upon hearing this, Congealed Frost instantly transformed back to her original form, and with a loud shout, "You despicable and shameless rogue," she immediately conjured an ice arrow aiming at Chenluo. Then she coldly said, "If you dare to do any filthy things to me again, don't blame me for being ruthless." However, at this moment, a jellyfish suddenly emerged from the sea, blabbering, "Finally found you. I'm here on Poseidon's command to invite you to Poseidon's palace, and let me warn you not to try any tricks. Your dolphin friend is with us." Even though Chenluo couldn't understand what they were saying, he could tell that this jellyfish had reached level 10. He was still missing 2 level 10 crystals. Should he kill it and harvest the crystal? But Congealed Frost was deep in thought. Clearly, this was a trap. Congealed Frost wasn't foolish. Going alone was likely a one-way trip, but the guy in front of her had teleportation abilities, didn't he? Last time, he teleported and saved Sea Princess right under her nose. With this thought, she immediately shouted to Chenluo, "I have a favor to ask. Are you willing to help?" Hearing this, Chenluo was taken aback. He hadn't expected a king-level expert to seek his assistance. Wasn't this the perfect opportunity to build a good relationship with her? He then responded with a grin, "Helping others is my nature. Drawing my sword to assist is my hobby. Whatever you need, just let me know." Upon hearing this, Congealed Frost got straight to the point. "My friend was taken by a great white shark called Poseidon. I want you to accompany me to Poseidon's palace. Can you use your special ability to help me rescue my friend?" Hearing this, Chenluo paused in shock, thinking that any adversary that makes Congealed Frost wary must be a king-level entity. Though the journey would be risky, Chenluo immediately agreed to Congealed Frost's request. "If she can hold off Poseidon, I'll rescue the dolphin and owe her a favor. If she can't even do that, then I can only apologize." Meanwhile, in Poseidon's palace, a walrus was seen fawning, "Lord Poseidon, I knew that you and Congealed Frost never got along, so I took the liberty of capturing her friend, the little dolphin, and sent someone to invite Congealed Frost to the palace." But before it could finish, Octopus Bro suddenly burst out from the water, exclaiming, "Big trouble. The captured dolphin has tried to take its own life. It's on its last breath. What should we do?" Poseidon licked his lips. "Just eat it. It's more convenient." Just at that moment, the dolphin suddenly sent out a psychic message, "Dear Congealed Frost, please don't come to Poseidon's palace to save me. They want to use me as bait to kill you. Goodbye forever." Elsewhere, receiving this message, Congealed Frost suddenly stopped in her tracks. Tears welled up in her eyes as she said, I just received a farewell message from the little dolphin to keep me from danger. It chose to end its life. Upon saying this, congealed frost shouted, I'll take revenge for my friend. I'll never forgive this monstrous fake Poseidon. Seeing this, Chenluo immediately stepped forward and said, don't act on impulse. If you go now, you'll be playing into their hands and betray the little dolphin's good intentions. But at this moment, congealed frost's eyes were clouded with rage. No matter what Chenluo said, she wouldn't listen. She was determined to seek revenge on Poseidon. Seeing this, Chenluo didn't indulge her any further. Using spatial exile, he immediately pulled her back, stating, a gentleman takes his revenge even after 10 years. I've promised to help you, but we need to plan this out. Only then did congealed frost start to come back to her senses, promising Chenluo she wouldn't act recklessly. However, at that moment, sensing something was amiss, the jellyfish tried to slip away, but it was too late. Chenluo lifted the void sword, coldly saying, do you think you can run faster, or is my void sword faster? With that, Chenluo cleaved the jellyfish in two with a single stroke. He then solemnly promised congealed frost, give me 1 year, and I guarantee we'll work together to eradicate this menace. It wasn't just bravado from Chenluo. With 2 or 3 more king-level crystals, he could reach level 10. By then, his power would be close to the king level. However, congealed frost remained skeptical, replying, don't brag here. You're no match for me. What makes you so confident? Hearing this, Chenluo immediately said, you don't need to worry about that. Tell me, if I help you get rid of this menace, how will you repay me? After all, we are neither kin nor kindred, and I should get something out of this, right? Upon hearing this, congealed frost quickly replied, as long as you truly help me eliminate Poseidon, you can have whatever you want. This made Chenluo extremely happy, and he whispered to himself, this mermaid has finally taken the bait. He then took congealed frost back to the shore, and instructed her not to seek revenge on Poseidon on her own within the year. Wait for my good news. Afterwards, he returned to the base in high spirits. Seeing his master return, Thunder King immediately ran excitedly towards Chenluo, but to everyone's surprise, as soon as Thunder King opened his mouth, Chenluo was drenched in cold sweat, and shouted, I must be hallucinating. Did words just come out of a dog's mouth? Everyone come look, Thunder King can speak. However, at that moment, Xiao Hai approached Chenluo, saying, the information you requested has been gathered. Here are the details of all the superpowered individuals who recently came to Divine Capital. Please take a look, boss. Chenluo glanced over the information and quickly noticed 3 big red characters. Lu Tianzhu. She was someone from his past life who had reached king level with nature powers. Not only did she have excellent planting skills, but she also mastered a powerful transformation technique, allowing her to turn into a firebird or thunder wolf. She was undoubtedly a rare talent. Yet, another superpowered individual's name soon caught Chenluo's attention. Gu Changfeng, a wind-based superpowered individual in a future king-level powerhouse. However, this guy was an ambitious base leader, and recruiting him would not be an easy task. Chenluo decided on the spot to recruit Lu Tianzhu first. After all, this woman didn't have much ambition, and winning her over should be easy. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately handed the information back to Xiao Hai, saying, Brother Hai, you can go about your business. I have some matters to attend to. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Gu Changfeng approached Lu Tianzhu. Upon meeting, he proposed they join forces and merge their bases. Unexpectedly, without even a second's consideration, she declined his proposal, saying she had no intention of merging. Hearing this, Gu Changfeng was taken aback, then exclaimed, don't tell me you're thinking of joining Dawn City too. Without hiding anything, Lu Tianzhu confirmed his suspicions. I'm actually planning to approach Leader Chen, and hope he can accept even those of us below the 6th rank into his ranks. This infuriated Gu Changfeng, who muttered to himself, I humbly asked you to join and you refused, yet you want to kneel and beg someone who has set such high standards. You're really slapping my face. But just then, an alarmed shout echoed from the entrance. Leader Lu, we're in big trouble. A massive horde of zombies is preparing to attack our base. Seeing an opportunity, Gu Changfeng was elated, thinking to himself, isn't this the perfect chance to show off? If I can resolve this crisis for her, she'll surely reconsider and join me. The incoming zombies were led by Big Strong from the Brotherhood Alliance. After Big Strong violently blasted the iron gate open with a single punch, the horde swarmed into the base like locusts. Seeing this, Gu Changfeng immediately took action, declaring, with me here, you beasts won't advance another step. He then ordered 2 of his subordinates to hold Big Strong back. Fully understanding the principle capture the leader first to defeat the enemy, he prepared to unleash his ultimate move against the lead zombie. However, with just 2 punches, Big Strong sent the 2 underlings straight to the underworld. Fortunately, Gu Changfeng's ultimate move was already underway. With a powerful shout, he summoned a massive tornado aiming directly at Big Strong. To everyone's surprise, Big Strong not only stood firm against the attack, but also mocked. Is that all you've got? Seeing this, Lu Tianzhu transformed into a phoenix, releasing a continuous stream of flames from the sky to attack Big Strong, hoping to push him back with long-range attacks. However, in an unexpected move, Big Strong leapt high into the air, grabbed her wings, and violently slammed her to the ground. The scene greatly alarmed Lu Tianzhu, who realized the zombie's strength was at the 8th rank. Is this where my tragic life ends? Just as Big Strong was about to finish off Lu Tianju with a single blow, another zombie rushed over shouting, "Boss, we're in big trouble. Chenluo from Dawn City is here. We can't mess with him. We need to run." At that moment, a bewildered Lu Tianju was utterly confused, thinking to herself, what on earth? Zombies have bosses too? What surprised her even more was that these zombies were afraid of someone from Dawn City. Before she could figure out what was happening, the horde of zombies began to scatter and flee in terror. Suddenly, a leg appeared from a vehicle, followed by Chenluo stepping out, saying, "Little girl, are you okay? Do you need any help?" Upon hearing this, Lu Tianju was overjoyed, thinking, is Chenluo really that powerful? The zombie leader that neither Gu Changfeng nor I could handle was terrified just hearing his name. Lu Tianju instantly became a huge fan of Chenluo. With admiration in her eyes, she said, "Brother Chen, I've been wanting to join you for a while now. Can I team up with you from now on?" Although Gu Changfeng was clearly annoyed, he didn't dare to show any disrespect in front of Chenluo because the difference in their power levels was too vast. Chenluo, with a smile, responded, "Since you've asked so sincerely, from now on, you can be with me." Little did Lu Tianju know, Chenluo was internally overjoyed, thinking how smooth recruiting her had been. All thanks to that kid, Big Strong. Then, a slightly embarrassed Lu Tianju continued, "I know that Dawn City only recruits members of rank 6 and above, and my people might not qualify, but could you give them a chance? Without me, they'll surely be bullied." Chenluo, with a gentle smile, replied, "While I can't fulfill that specific request, I have an affiliate organization that can accommodate your people and ensure they're not bullied." After addressing Lu Tianju's concerns, he swiftly turned his attention to Gu Changfeng, saying, "You must be Gu Changfeng. Don't think I don't know about the spy you planted in Dawn City. Whatever you're plotting isn't my concern, but let me give you a piece of advice today. Before acting, weigh your own strength. Know what you can and cannot do. Use your head." Upon hearing this, Gu Changfeng nearly wet himself in fear. Quickly nodding, he expressed his gratitude for Chenluo's advice. However, Chenluo didn't even give him a second glance and left with Lu Tianju. Unable to retaliate, Gu Changfeng muttered to himself, "Chenluo, just you wait. One day, I'll have you beneath my feet." Meanwhile, elsewhere, there was a sudden phenomenon in Dawn City, where daylight swiftly turned to night. When Chenluo rushed back to the base, he was stunned to see a massive black hole in the sky. Looking up, he saw Sea Princess floating in midair, her face contorted in pain. After an initial shock, a look of delight crossed Chenluo's face, realizing that his sister was about to break through to the king level. Having experience in advancing to the king level himself, Chenluo promptly advised Sea Princess, "If you feel the energy is about to burst out of your body, try to gather it together, and then release it with all your might." Without hesitation, Sea Princess conjured a massive dark energy sphere and hurled it towards an open space outside the base. Following a deafening explosion, Chenluo hurriedly congratulated her. "Congratulations on officially entering the king level." But before he could finish, Sea Princess suddenly hugged him by the neck, thanking him for his timely advice, or she might have been torn apart by that immense energy. "Let's go and take revenge on Congealed Frost now." Chenluo, hearing this, broke out in cold sweat, thinking to himself, "I just made peace with Congealed Frost. If my sister goes there with such aggression, won't it ruin my plan?" As he was about to try and dissuade her, Sea Princess suddenly swept him off his feet in a princess carry, saying, "Just rest in my arms. I'll fly us there." The bewildered Chenluo was utterly confused, thinking, "This is bad. I can't stop her now. I must quickly find a way to mediate their conflict." Soon, Sea Princess, flying at incredible speed, reached the seaside. The journey was so turbulent that Chenluo felt dizzy upon landing, but Sea Princess, with her fists clenched in anticipation, was eager to face off with Congealed Frost immediately. Seeing this, the puzzled Chenluo quickly called out to Sea Princess, "Big sis, can we discuss something?" When you confront her, just give her a lesson. Don't beat her to a pulp. As for that mermaid, I'm confident I can recruit her to our side. Upon hearing this, Sea Princess immediately declared, "Since my brother likes this mermaid, I'll capture her for you right now." At this moment, Congealed Frost, who was seated on an island, also noticed Sea Princess and thought to herself, "You dare come here. Last time you managed to escape, but this time, let's see if you can pull it off again." Seeing that a confrontation between the two women was inevitable, Chenluo quickly retreated to a safe distance to secretly observe the fight, thinking to himself, "King level versus king level. Someone insignificant like me should stay out of this." Without any hesitation, Sea Princess released her Dark Eye technique against Congealed Frost, hoping to catch her off guard. However, Congealed Frost responded swiftly, interrupting Sea Princess with her Frost Bloom technique. This infuriated Sea Princess, who shouted, "You damn mermaid, watch me beat you so hard today that you'll be searching for your teeth on the ground." She then launched another attack, Darkness Consumes, where a dark energy column, a meter in diameter, shot towards Congealed Frost. Surprisingly, Congealed Frost neither retreated nor dodged. Instead, she countered with her Extreme Cold Solidification technique. The intense battle between them was like a standoff between two fierce opponents. All the while, Chenluo watched from the sidelines, sweating profusely. After 800 rounds, neither had gained the upper hand. Both their powers were drained, leaving them unable to use any more special abilities. However, the fight didn't stop stop there. It escalated into an even more intense second round of king-level combat. Sea Princess raised her right hand, ready to strike. Congealed Frost, not to be outdone, immediately raised her arm to block the sudden blow, as she smirked with a look of triumph, saying, "Is that all?" Sea Princess unexpectedly slapped her across the face with her left hand. Infuriated, Congealed Frost shouted, "How dare you hit my face? You seafood, I'll end you." Without hesitation, the two entangled in a fierce hand-to-hand combat. Seeing that the situation was getting out of hand, Chenluo rushed forward, grabbing Congealed Frost, and shouted, "Enough, let's talk this through peacefully." Unexpectedly, as Chenluo held onto Congealed Frost, she received another slap from Sea Princess. Seeing this, Congealed Frost shouted at Chenluo, "Let go of me. I'll make this mermaid pay." This made Sea Princess even more furious. She yelled, "How dare you shout at my brother? Let's see if I don't slap you senseless." Just as Sea Princess was about to slap again, Chenluo quickly turned around to shield Congealed Frost with his back. However, Sea Princess suddenly halted her motion, thinking, "Why is my annoying brother protecting this mermaid? Oh, I remember now. He wants to recruit her. I should help him." With that thought, she began to pretend to furiously hit Chenluo while yelling, "How dare you protect her? I'll beat you up, you annoying brother." Although she seemed fierce, her blows were light. Chenluo caught on quickly, feigning cries of pain. This tactic seemed to work. Seeing Chenluo so protective made Congealed Frost grow concerned about his well-being. After this dramatic display, Chenluo pulled out 2 lollipops from his pocket and handed one each to Congealed Frost and Sea Princess. He said, "Misunderstandings aside, my sister here is our key ally against Poseidon. Let's talk things out." Congealed Frost responded skeptically, "Your sister is too brutal, even to her own brother. Maybe you should be my brother instead." Chenluo smiled, "I only have one sister. How about you become my little sister?" After some mediation from Chenluo, the two women reconciled. Congealed Frost even agreed to become Chenluo's sister. Chenluo then said in a serious tone, "Sister Congealed Frost, come back to the base with me. You and my sister can get to know each other's abilities. That way, we can work seamlessly together when we face Poseidon. I estimate in about 3 months, I'll be close to having king-level strength. Then, we can confront Poseidon together." Fast forward 2.5 months, Chenluo finally advanced to level 10. Now, with pseudo-king level strength, he couldn't be easily defeated, even by a king-level opponent's most powerful moves. Afterward, Chenluo immediately asked Rice, "With my current strength, what would happen if I used the space-time ability?" Without hesitation, Rice began to predict the outcome and informed Chenluo, "Using that ability now won't kill you, but it would leave you in a vegetative state." Hearing this, Chenluo became pensive, muttering, "Does this skill have such a high cost?" Thankfully, Rice predicted it for me, or I might have been tempted to try it. With that thought, Chenluo instantly teleported outside the window and decided to test his king-level move called the Dimensional Blade. This skill can instantly defeat a king-level opponent and even severely injure those above king level. However, with his current strength, Chenluo could only harness a quarter of its power. Upon activating the Dimensional Blade, he waved his hand, releasing an energy that sliced through a nearby mountain like tofu. The next moment, Chenluo collapsed, exhausted from the effort, murmuring to himself, "Using that move at my current strength was too taxing. I must avoid using it unless absolutely necessary. Now, I should keep my promise. Tomorrow, I'll go with Sister Congealed Frost to settle our score with Poseidon." Congealed Frost and her group arrived at the seashore, ready to confront the imposter god, Baihao, in Poseidon's palace. After a 2.5-hour journey, Congealed Frost pointed out the beach ahead as the entrance to Poseidon's palace. At that moment, Baihao was leisurely sunbathing on the beach, unaware of the looming danger. Suddenly, Chenluo shouted, "All irrelevant creatures, leave immediately. 3 king-level beings are here to confront Baihao. Those who don't wish to die, move aside." At his command, all the sea creatures quickly made way. However, Congealed Frost was intently focused on Baihao, mumbling, "Why is he wearing that armor?" Upon hearing this, Chenluo looked closely and recognized the armor from a past life. It wasn't worn by Baihao, but by a king-level zombie. Chenluo deduced Baihao must have been killed by that zombie in his previous life, which is why the armor ended up on it. He also remembered that this unique armor would automatically deploy an energy shield when attacked. Thus, until the armor's energy was depleted, they wouldn't be able to inflict any real damage on Baihao. Hearing this, Sea Princess immediately suggested, "Then we should destroy its armor." Chenluo shook his head in response, saying, "Doing so would be a waste of such a treasure. If possible, I'd like to take that armor for myself." At that moment, Baihao noticed the intruders in his territory. Without hesitation, he charged at Chenluo and the others. Seeing this, Sea Princess swiftly cast a curse skill at Baihao. However, the gem on Baihao's armor shone with a brilliant white light, absorbing all the curse energy from Sea Princess. Stunned, Sea Princess exclaimed, "How is that possible?" Meanwhile, Congealed Frost launched her Icy Blossom attack. Not only did it fail to harm Baihao, but it also didn't even scratch his armor shield. Completely taken aback, she yelled, "When did this imposter god become so strong?" Before everyone could react, Baihao threw a powerful punch at Chenluo, just 0.1 meters from landing on Chenluo's face. Chenluo quickly activated a skill called Spatial spatial banishment. The next moment, Baihao's punch hit nothing but air. Before Baihao could react, Chenluo devised a plan. He instructed Jiang Chuxue to cast Time Freeze on Poseidon. Although the skill would only last for 3 seconds against a king-level entity, it was enough time for Chenluo to act. Jiang Chuxue didn't hesitate and cast Time Freeze on Baihao. As a golden light enveloped him, Baihao found himself unable to move, as if he had been paralyzed. Seizing the opportunity, Chenluo used Void Walking to appear behind Baihao. Without wasting a moment, Chenluo, with the speed honed from being single for 20 years, removed the armor from Baihao in just 2 seconds. Seeing this, Poseidon was left stunned. Just as the time freeze was about to wear off, Chenluo shouted, "Spatial banishment," and Baihao vanished from the spot. Chenluo then gleefully wore the armor and ordered the Sea Turtle King to escort Meili and Jiang Chuxue to a nearby island, anticipating Baihao's return for revenge. Before departing, Meili cast several buffing spells on the group and reminded everyone to be cautious. 2 hours later, Baihao returned, even more furious than before, shouting, "You despicable human, return my divine armor or prepare to face my wrath." Chuckling, Chenluo replied, "Such arrogance. I'd like to see what you're capable of. I'll also test out this armor's abilities." Baihao, infuriated, yelled, "Stop acting so arrogant in front of me. Give me back my armor." Chenluo immediately stated there's no way he'd return it, challenging Baihao to take it back himself. But before Chenluo could finish his words, Baihao mysteriously appeared right in front of him. Baihao's massive fist came hurling toward Chenluo. At that moment, Chenluo sensed something was amiss. The opponent had breached the armor's defensive radius, but the protective shield didn't activate. Before he could understand the situation, Baihao's powerful punch landed squarely on his face. With a painful scream, Chenluo was sent flying. In shock, he thought, "Does this armor recognize its owner? Why doesn't it protect me?" Seeing the situation, Sea Princess didn't hesitate and blocked Baihao's path. She first used a skill to slow down Poseidon's movement, and then cast the Dark Eye on him. Congealed Frost also launched her Icy Blossom attack. Although both attacks hit Baihao squarely, they didn't even scratch him. Chenluo, watching from behind, was terrified and muttered, "This guy's defense is insanely strong." Baihao then mockingly said, "Are you giving me a scratch massage? Ignorant sea creatures, today I'll show you my true power." With that, a terrifying aura emanated from Baihao, and a massive golden tornado enveloped him. Before anyone could react, a great white shark, with its jaws wide open, charged at Sea Princess. Sea Princess couldn't escape in time, but thankfully, Congealed Frost quickly used her powerful skill to freeze the shark, saving Sea Princess from a perilous situation. Chenluo immediately instructed Sea Princess to unleash her ultimate move, Dark Devour. Despite its immense power, the skill required a few seconds of casting time. Sea Princess wasn't entirely confident she could hit Baihao with it, but she obeyed her brother's instructions regardless. Just as Sea Princess began casting Dark Devour, Chenluo utilized spatial banishment, transporting Baihao, who was attempting to flee, directly into Sea Princess's attack. Before Poseidon could react, a powerful constricting force instantly overwhelmed him. Following a heart-wrenching scream from Poseidon, the sky echoed with agony. Even though the move was effective, Baihao's physical resilience meant Sea Princess had to expend a vast amount of energy to inflict damage. Within just 2 minutes, Sea Princess had exhausted her limits. As her technique dissipated, Baihao broke free from her hold. Enraged, he declared, "Mere sea creatures dare oppose a god like me? None of you will leave here alive today." Baihao then lunged out of the water, his massive jaw filled with razor-sharp teeth, lunging at the duo. Observing this, Chenluo realized the gravity of the situation. Both Congealed Frost and Sea Princess were too drained to evade. Without hesitation, Chenluo teleported in front of them, grabbing their hands, and used Void Walking to escape. By the time Baihao tried to bite, he found only emptiness. Utterly bewildered, Baihao wondered, how did my prey escape just like that? Meanwhile, the trio had already reached a location hundreds of miles away. No matter how fast Poseidon was, he couldn't catch up to them. Congealed Frost said dejectedly, "Last time, this pseudo-god wasn't this powerful. Now, even with all 3 of us combined, we're no match for him. Brother Chenluo, what should we do now?" Chenluo responded, "No rush. Once I advance to the king level, I'll help you take him down." Soon after, they met up with Meili at the shore. On seeing them, Meili immediately asked about the progress. Chenluo shook his head. "It was challenging. Our plan failed. We need to rethink our strategy." Still, it wasn't a total loss. "We managed to get Baihao's armor, though I don't know why it had no effect on me." Upon hearing this, Meili quickly inquired about the gem on the armor, suggesting, "Chenluo, do you think this gem might be the key to activating the armor?" Upon hearing Meili's words, a realization struck Chenluo. He immediately attempted to channel his powers into the red gem. Sure enough, as the gem absorbed the energy, it responded. With excitement, he said, "Sis, try hitting me with all your might." Without hesitation, Sea Princess threw a punch at him. To her surprise, her fist stopped half a meter from Chenluo, blocked by a purple energy shield that suddenly appeared around him. Before Chenluo could celebrate, he received a telepathic message from Zhao Zi. "Brother Chen, we have a problem. Big Strong just sent out a distress call. A zombie is challenging him for leadership, and they're fighting in an octagonal cage. Big Strong is on the the verge of losing. We need your help right now. At that moment, the mutant zombie spoke arrogantly. You have two choices before you. 1. Accept me as your leader. Or 2. I kill you right here and now. Choose quickly. I'm not a patient one. Unbeknownst to him, Chenluo was already hovering above them. Seeing the audacity of the mutant, Chenluo decided he would help Big Strong save face in front of his subordinates. Within a moment, Big Strong received a message from Zhao Zi. Big Strong, don't panic. Brother Chen is here. He says that if you count to 3, the mutant in front of you will drop dead. Just pose as if you killed it, and it will all play out. Gaining confidence from these words, Big Strong shouted, you're pretty bold, aren't you? Who gave you the courage to challenge me? Do you believe that if I count to 3, you'll be dead? This statement left the onlooking zombies in doubt, wondering if Big Strong had become overconfident. It was evident that the mutant had a higher level, and they weren't sure Big Strong could defeat him, let alone in 3 seconds. The mutant smirked and said, go on, count to 3. I'd love to see how you think you can kill me. Without any hesitation, Big Strong began counting. At this moment, all the zombies stared at Big Strong as if he was an idiot, eagerly awaiting the moment he'd embarrass himself. To be honest, even Big Strong had doubts. While he knew Brother Chen was powerful, he found it hard to believe he could kill a level 9 mutant without even showing himself. He silently hoped, brother, you better not be setting me up. I've put everything on the line this time. As the 3-second countdown ended, Big Strong bellowed, die. Simultaneously, Chenluo executed a spatial slice on the mutant. Seeing that the countdown was over, the mutant taunted, weren't you saying I'd be dead in 3 seconds? I'm still here. And before he could finish, his head dropped to the ground. Witnessing this, Big Strong immediately began to boast, a mere firefly daring to compete with the sun and moon, a fool challenging my position as the leader. Who else here dares to defy me? Come at me, all at once if you wish. With that, the entire crowd began chanting their allegiance to Big Strong, swearing to follow him loyally. Having made his point, Big Strong excitedly approached Chenluo, offering him the crystal from the mutant. However, Chenluo declined, generously suggesting that Big Strong keep it for himself. This left Big Strong momentarily stunned, wondering if Brother Chen had had a change of heart, being so unexpectedly kind. But the next moment, Chenluo began to frisk Big Strong, leaving the latter thinking, this is more like my brother, always suspecting I might be hiding some high-grade crystal. He soon arrived at Jin Yuanjiang's base. Chenluo inquired about any useful intel. Jin Yuanjiang admitted that things weren't going smoothly. There was another base, similar in scale to Dawn City, led by Yiyu, a level 9 power. Hearing this, Chenluo immediately sank into thought. Yiyu was a renowned figure from his past life, having awakened dual abilities at level 10 and becoming the only dual ability user at the king level. Moreover, he was also a favored individual with unparalleled luck. He had stumbled upon 3 king level crystals and countless ones at levels 9 and 10. Thinking of this, Chenluo immediately had a sinister idea. I want to steal the luck of the child of fortune. Every time he finds a king level crystal, I'll steal it. Wouldn't I then be the most fortunate? However, he realized that Yiyu wouldn't broadcast the fact that he found such a crystal, let alone tell him. So, Chenluo needed an inside source close to Yiyu. Sending someone new would be suspicious, so it was better to turn someone already close to Yiyu. Quickly, Chenluo thought of a suitable candidate. This person was not only close to Yiyu but also known to be fickle in loyalty, making them the perfect mole. With that in mind, Chenluo decided to head to Yiyu's base. He instantly appeared at Yiyu's base using the void walking technique. There, he saw Wan Jiangui in conversation with Yiyu. Once the two separated, Chenluo immediately used a space banish on Wan Jiangui. The next second, the unsuspecting Wan was sent flying. Chenluo quickly grabbed his shoulder, startling Wan Jiangui, who exclaimed, "Are you human or ghost?" Wanting to keep things discreet, Chenluo took him back to the ground. A confused Wan Jiangui was taken aback. He'd never seen a human fly before. Wondering if Chenluo was some kind of deity, he immediately knelt and bowed, repeatedly saying, "I pay my respects to the immortal." Once he finished his greetings, a table full of delicious hot dishes appeared in front of him, further convincing him of Chenluo's divine nature. Chenluo then handed him a pair of chopsticks and said, "Wan Jiangui, how about you follow me from now on?" Seeing this, Wan Jiangui didn't hesitate. He picked up the chopsticks and began feasting, thinking to himself, this definitely tastes like fresh beef. I can't be wrong. He couldn't remember the last time he had meat, let alone fresh beef. Overwhelmed by the taste, tears of joy formed in his eyes. He wondered if he was dreaming, but the sensation of the food felt all too real. After wolfing down the meal, Wan Jiangui almost burst from overeating. However, at that moment, the aroma of the food suddenly attracted a horde of zombies. Seeing this, Wan Jiangui immediately volunteered, saying, "Please wait here, immortal. I'll be right back." Hearing this, Chenluo swiftly grabbed his wrist, stopping him. "You shouldn't exert yourself right after eating." With a casual wave of his hand, the zombies at the door were instantly killed. This scared Wan Jiangui, who exclaimed, "What kind of sorcery is this? That was way too effortless. Like swatting flies, you wiped out a horde of zombies." He then fell to his knees, shouting, "I, Wan Jiangui, am at your service. I would go through fire and water for you." Chenluo replied, "Just stay by Yiyu's side. If he encounters anything unusual, let me know immediately." Wan Jiangui, anyway, being no fool, thought to himself, isn't he just asking me to be a mole? What are you up to? Upon hearing this, Chenluo quickly clarified, I am not an immortal, I am just a king level ability user. My power is equivalent to combining 100 or so EUs. He continued